Hello everybody, this is Thor is MTG and we are back with another case study video. This one is going to be an explorer video. We took this deck up against Golgari Fight Rigging. This took place in the Magic Beans podcast leagues that they run. The deck that I chose to run in this league is the Mono-Red Aggro list. I love playing with the Mono-Red Aggro list of the last standard set. So I have a lot of the cards that are able to do well in this. Absolutely love playing with Embercleave. Love playing with that Embercleave. And it only gets even stronger being able to play things quicker and quicker with the Burning-Tree Emissary. So here's the sideboard that we're looking at over here. In my research of the deck, I found that the Grease Fang decks were difficult to match up against. So my sideboard mostly deals with that in many different ways. So we've got the Tormid's Crypt and a Braid in order to get the Grease Fang, Redcap Melee if I need it, and Opportunistic Dragon is also out there just in case for all the artifacts. Other cards in the sideboard here are the Roiling Vortex. This one's mostly for the Angels decks that I've been seeing. And then the Tormid's Crypt also can deal with any of the decks that are dealing with Graveyard Recursion, with the Witch's Hut, Rakdos, any reclamation spells, any of that. We also have Azariel down here, and this deck just runs really quickly. Main point of this, get the creatures down, beat them quickly, win the game before they're even able to mount their attack in a mid-range or a control setting. Let's see how this deck goes up against the Golgari Fight Rigging deck. Let's do it. Alright, so this is going to be some commentary from after the game. So we're going to get some second thoughts on this game. This one's a little better. We probably end up dropping the Kumano on this one. We have a turn 1, we have the turn 2, and we have a turn 3. And we have the mana to be able to do it. So we're just waiting on the opponent to decide on their choice. They choose Mulligan as well. So we're going to obviously drop the Kumano. And then we will get this game rolling. Mountain down, Kumano next. So getting that mountain down, Kumano. First blood. Okay, so opponent's gonna go, and they play down a tapped creature. So this one is going to be the Robber of the Rich. We're able to grab stuff out of the hand. Robber of the Rich also becomes a 3/3, which is big. Alright, so we take one of their little land things. Alright, 2 forests. Okay, so interesting option here. You could go Phoenix of Ash here, but you could also go Kumano and the Fanatical Firebrand. So Fanatical Firebrand is the choice that I end up going with. I'm gonna wait to see what we draw, because we could be able to draw something, play something with 2 mana. We don't end up doing that, so Kumano is going to come down. That means Phoenix of Ash on this next turn is going to become a 3/3 if we end up playing Phoenix of Ash. A Rotting Registrar is an interesting choice. That's a big creature with a lot of toughness. So could go Goblin, but I think Phoenix of Ash is the choice here because you're able to go up and above the Rotting Registrar. The Chainwhirler's ability is not going to do us much good here. So I think the option here that we go with is we attack all in to create some pressure. Obviously, one of our things is going to die, but it creates some really big pressure for the opponent to have to deal with right away, especially since we have Phoenix of Ash with 3. They need to get rid of that right away, and they can't. That's big one here. So, going into our first cuts, looking to see around what we should do. End up going with dropping the 2 Bonecrusher Giants because they're just too slow and it's only 2 damage. End up putting in Zeriels and a Krenko. Krenko's because it creates more bodies out there, and then a Zeriel because it's a good option in the later game. So, second hand here, we're going to go second. We're going to end up keeping this 2 land. We've got enough mana out there. If we land all 4 of those, the Embercleave will come down really quickly. Very good hand to start out with. So, could go Fanatical Firebrand there. Could. But I think that you're going to get 1 damage no matter what. And the sacrifice ability is not the greatest against this fight rigging deck. So now we got our 2 forests. So Burning-Tree Emissary is going to come down with the Robber of the Rich, making Embercleave a very dangerous option for them on these next turns that they don't know about. Creates a threat. So, Robber of the Rich eats a Fatal Push. That'll happen. But now we've still got the Burning-Tree Emissary with a 3/3. So now turn 3 for them is a Shakedown Heavy. Really wish you could have that red cap melee on a turn like this and be able to get rid of the Shakedown Heavy. Our thing does flip over. Don't want to attack into them, and besides Embercleave can't get in, only with 2 of them. So we can attack with the Burning-Tree Emissary on this turn because we do have the Fanatical Firebrand's ability to do 1 damage. So if they chose to block, that's dead. Shakedown Heavy. So there is that option because the Burning-Tree is not going to be blocking. Fight rigging is really tough here, especially knowing that they have a Titan of Industry because of the Robber of the Rich last game set. That's going to be really difficult to overcome on this. Because now they'll be able to flip right into it. And that's going to be really tough. They got 2 things with 7 power and toughness that is just tough to match. We really only have the 2 things that can battle against this. And that's our flying creatures and Embercleave. But even with the flying creatures, the Titan of Industry makes it really tough because it has reach. Here, we've got the option to untap the Shakedown Heavy and remove it from combat. But we allow them to draw a card. Think that we end up untapping the Shakedown Heavy so that we can preserve our life total. Thoughtseize is really nice because they're able to see the Torbran, the Embercleave, so give them the obligatory nice on that one because it's really tough to go off of. Torbran would have been really nice with an Embercleave. Don't end up having that. So, got some options here. You can wait, and we can play the Embercleave. We can attack and play the Embercleave, or we can wait and kind of see what they're going to do. We're in such a tough spot that I don't really see the point in not going. Holding back the Fanatical Firebrand just in case they block the Shakedown Heavy on the Burning-Tree Emissary, because the Embercleaves are going to make it +1/+1. So we'd be able to kill the Shakedown Heavy, which would be a really big deal. But obviously they're not going to do that knowing that we have an Embercleave in our hands. So Burning-Tree Emissary is going to die, but Titan of Industry is also going to die. At this point, it kind of just we're not going to be able to survive against their attacks. So at this point, kind of just letting them play out their cards so we actually know what they have the ability to get with their fight rigging, so then we know what we can grab when we sideboard out on this next turn, on this next game match. Aronis is really interesting because that's a death touch and indestructible. That's really tough. So gonna untap the Shakedown Heavy here, let them draw a card. Gonna eat some damage here, save our life total, kind of see what we end up drawing on this next turn, just to see if we want to keep going with this game. Our clock is fine, but we draw a land, so there's not really a point in continuing to play. So we'll concede that one and go into second cuts. So red cap melees are definitely going to be coming into this. So we've got to take out two things. End up going and taking out the Zerial because there wasn't really a point in putting it in at the beginning. And then taking out the Foundry Street Denizen because it's just too slow and their creatures are so big that we just don't need it. This is unfortunate with the go first, drawing no lands. It's very unfortunate. So this looks really good. I'm going to be dropping the Battle Cry Goblin because we've got the Kumano on turn 1, Burning-Tree, Robber of the Rich, and then Anax. We've got a very good curve, and Battle Cry Goblin just kind of gets in the way and is not going to be played within these next first 3 turns. So there's not really a reason to have that out there in our hands. So we're going to drop the mountain, play the Kumano, go out. Burning-Tree Emissary is going to get the 3/3, and then Robber of the Rich is going to attack in. So Fatal Push is available for the opponent, but point of the deck, get the creatures out, play them quick. It's the main point of the deck. Embercleave draw on that turn, as I've just noticed out here, is a massive draw. We can play that on turn 4 if we can keep things on the field. That's fine. We get to draw something. Fatal Push is a really big pickup for Robber of the Rich there. That's 2 Fatal Pushes down. Really big pick. Gilded Goose is much better to deal with than all the other ones that we've been facing. So now we've got 2 creatures on the field. We can play the Anax. Go to, but end up pulling it back because there's not really a reason to play. Robber of the Rich is going to go in. It's going to survive. We can see what we're going to draw. Turn Timber Symbiosis. We're going to be able to play the Anax on this next turn. On this turn. Just wanted to make sure, just to see what we could get, because we could get something really big and really nice. Alright, so opponent really needs to play down something big here. Alright, so Ronus is interesting on that. We can still play the Embercleave, but the 5/5, I'm checking to see what that ability is, but it can't attack or defend until they have a creature with power 4 or greater. So we can just go straight in. We get the Rotting Registrar. Embercleave's going to come down. They can't stop us. We're going to win this game because of Embercleave, Anax, all of it. It is a great play. Moving on. That is going to be a win. We've got it against Golgari Fight Rigging.
I went for the head.